I go to Netflix, and for whatever reason, I pressed your profile on Netflix rather than mine. And suddenly I'm in your world. Why did I come and see one white guy looking like he just stepped out of a 90s boy band?
He's a gay medium.
A gay medium.
He basically connects with the other side through a process where he sweats intensely, which sounds so grim.
Oh my God.
Yes, I do like to watch him doing his important work in the world and bringing healing and hope to people who are going through deep grief.
One of our other superstars in the world of Christianity was a certain Mary Kay Baxter.
Oh.
She went to hell. And she wrote a book about it. In fact, she wrote a whole sequence of books. And one of her classic ones is A Divine Revelation of Hell. She saw all of the bad humans like Hitler were in hell.
Oh, she saw Hitler.
Oh, they're all there burning.
Anyone else?
She describes like intense scenes of torture. So it's kind of like torture porn in a way.
This is starting to sound like Tyler Henry.
Literally. She was our very own Tyler Henry. The problem was none of us was present. We were so focused on not ending up in that horrific hell beyond the grave that we weren't focused on the here and now. The love that we shared, the communities that we were a part of, the planet that we were here to take care of.
I've come to an acceptance of not knowing. That not knowing and holding some sense of wonder and awe about the world.
I want to enjoy the life I've been given because this is all I know. I actually don't know what's beyond the grave. All I do know is what's here right in front of me right now.
Roots and rigor, rigor and flow. Roots and rigor, rigor and flow. Roots and rigor, rigor and flow. Rigor and flow.
One.
Hi, welcome back to Rigor and Flow with
Me, Aiwan.
and me, Tamanda, the show where business meets love.
And culture meets critique.
Nice. What have we got today?
Well, do you know what it is, right? I'm just reflecting on a moment last year. I come back from another country where I'd been on production, and I turn on the TV and I go to Netflix, and for whatever reason, I pressed your profile on Netflix rather than mine.
Are you snooping?
I wasn't snooping. I literally pressed it by mistake and suddenly I'm in your world. And the algorithm likes to adjust things according to what the person's been watching. So if you watch something, it gives you more of those things and it suggests things to you. I'm used to your side of Netflix being like true crime, yeah, a bit of reality TV, yeah, and like, some documentaries or whatever. Why did I come and see one white guy looking like he just stepped out of a 90s boy band? Tyler something.
Tyler Henry.
Some near-death experiences. I was like, this has to be a mistake. So I call you.
No, it's not a near-death experience. He's a gay medium.
A gay medium. To
Or
me,
a queer medium.
It's the same. There's something on the other side and you're doing stuff with the other side. So I call you because I'm thinking it's a mistake. I'm like, that's interesting. Is this... And then you had the most sheepish look on your face. You were like, oh, yeah, well... You were caught in the act.
Did the continue watching not give it
and
away?
that was the worst. It was the continue watching.
It wasn't the recommendation.
So at first I thought, because sometimes you can start to watch something and then drop off. So I was like, maybe she just started watching it and dropped off. It was a mistake.
There I am at season whatever.
Like season
Episode
1000. Like you and Tyler are one at this point.
Me and Tyler were one while you were away.
You really were. And I was like, this is a whole different side to my wife that I've never seen before.
I think I remember what you actually said.
Ha!
You said something like, it really is true, we marry our mothers.
Exactly.
You said something along those lines. And
Yeah.
you were like, what is this?
I don't know what to say.
You want me to explain myself?
Yes, I'd like you to explain yourself because that's what this episode is about. Near-death experiences and the paranormal.
And the other side. Yeah, it is. Yeah. Okay, so how can I explain this in a way that keeps my public profile intact? What tiny public profile I have.
With Rigor and Flow out, all public profile, just forget about it. Your personal brand, just forget about it.
Okay, look. So Tyler Henry, have you seen any of it over my shoulder since? Because now my secret's out the bag. I do sort of watch it occasionally.
No, I don't.
Okay, I'm obviously still being quite cautious. Okay, Tyler Henry, he's like this little blonde. You're right. He actually, fair play, does look like he comes out of a 90s boy band.
He could have been in 911.
Yeah,
he could have been in
any of them. He could have been in Backstreet Boys.
What's the 7 from the UK? The famous 7. No, there were 7 of them.
Oh, All Rise. They sang.
No, it's not that one. It's not Blue. He couldn't be in Blue. He's not edgy enough. Blue had a bit of edge. I'm talking about S Club 7.
Oh, he could have been. Is it called Lee? Or what's his?
Was it?
I don't know. But yeah, he could be an S Club 7 dude.
Listen, he missed his calling.
He did. Instead, he is a medium. And he basically connects with the other side through a process where he sweats intensely, which sounds so grim.
Oh my God.
He sweats intensely while he scribbles on a sheet of paper, which helps him to channel stuff from the other side. And don't laugh at me. I can't remember the story.
You lost me. He sweats intensely while scribbling on a bit of paper.
He has a method, okay? He has a method. He has a method. He sweats intensely, scribbles on a piece of paper, connects to the other side, a capacity he has had since childhood. And his mum, thank God he has a supportive mum who has not gaslit him out of his gifts. His gifts. Listen, did we not sit there and talk about a whole mental health and spiritual connection and gifts? So I can't deny that Tyler Henry may indeed have bestowed upon him some gifts, okay? And he connects to the other side and he channels people and their loved ones and as energies. This is sounding so bad. This is sounding way worse than I intended it. Can you please keep it together? Anyway, he channels people. And yes, I do like to watch him doing his important work in the world and bringing healing and hope to people who are going through deep grief.
What do you feel when you're watching this?
Can you please ask me seriously?
I'm trying. Okay.
Okay.
We're not going to get through this episode. We're not getting through it. We're done. There's nothing we can do about this.
We could.
I'm done. I'm actually done. That's the episode. 5 minutes. That's it. I'll edit that and we'll put it out as a bonus drop.
Okay. Okay, here we go.
Okay.
I haven't got an answer to your
it's
question.
you
That's
sitting there, seriously watching that. And that's the thing. It's like, oh God.
Okay, wait. Carry on. Just ask me.
So how do you?
Just ask me what I get out of it.
Okay. Okay. So, oh no, this is not a good episode.
Okay, you can.
Oh.
Do you want to cancel it?
No, we're doing it.
You can ask me any question you want.
Okay.
Okay.
Baby, stop.
Okay, wait. I can see I can see you're really tickled by this episode.
Yeah. No, I'm tickled by that aspect.
Which
of the
aspect
episode.
of it?
You watching Tyler Perry.
He's not Tyler Perry.
What's his name?
Henry.
Tyler
I
Henry.
should check if that is actually his name. I'm sure it is.
Yeah.
Look, this is why I didn't want to share my deep love of Tyler Henry, because the sanctity of Tyler has been disrupted now. I've had to speak out what I actually watch.
Yeah.
But yeah, he reads famous people, many a famous person, A-listers, I'll have you know.
Like?
I mean, I'm not good at celebrities, but that one from Selling Beverly Hills was on there. The one that's got
reality
babies with...
TV.
Yeah, it's got
They're
babies,
always
she's got babies with
jumping.
Nick Cannon.
Yeah, but they're always jumping on each
Brianna,
other.
that's her name, Brianna.
They're always jumping on each other's shows to promote themselves.
Okay, but there are other people like... I stand corrected. I have reviewed Tyler Henry's guest list and they are not, in fact, A-listers. However, they are some... You know, Kelly Osbourne's been on there.
Who hasn't been in anything since that show with her father and her mother and her brother.
Okay, fine.
The Ozzy Osbourne show, right? Is it the
That's
Osbournes?
it, the Osbournes, yeah. And who else was on it? That other one I said to you?
Brie.
No, not Brie.
The bottom line is, it's not A-listers, so let's not egg it. You know what I mean? Like,
Amanda
let's not,
Klutz, do you know her?
Nobody knows Amanda Klutz. I don't even know who Amanda Klutz is. Nobody knows her, so don't even, like, let's just move on. No, let's move on. Because that's not giving A-lister.
Okay, fine.
Yeah.
I accept no A-listers have been on. Some B-listers, C-listers, maybe D-listers have been on.
R-listers. Reality people.
TV listers, which, you know, it's big in my world. Anyway, he reads their people from the other side and their friends' people from the other side.
Okay.
And that's it. And I enjoy watching it.
And that's the most important thing, is that you enjoy it.
I do.
And I'm really happy.
Why do I feel like a primary school kid?
I don't know, because you're watching anyway.
Yeah, well, I mean, I don't know what I get out of it really, but I get out of it, maybe it's just more escapism.
Yeah, I think so.
I don't know.
There's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah, I don't know.
I mean, we're going to prod and poke in this episode to really get to the bottom of it. So I feel like...
Yeah, and I think the bottom line is, I think what that show feeds is a lifelong fascination with the paranormal, the other side, the afterlife, the kind of unknowns of this world. And if I had to exemplify it, I did come across a quote in preparation for this week's episode.
Okay.
And it was by someone called Joshua Burns. Do you know who that is?
No.
I have no idea who
Has
that
he
is.
also been on Tyler Henry?
Probably. But all I know is he has a quote attributed to him. It might be someone else who said it for all we know. But anyway, I liked it. And it said, the trouble with quotes about death is that 99.9% of them are made by people who are still alive. And I think that's true.
But then, so what about the 0.01%?
Precisely. That is why I'm fascinated by people like Tyler Henry, who claim to know what exists beyond the other side. And there's a very small proportion of people who are bold enough to make that claim. And I'm endlessly fascinated by those people.
Wow. Okay.
As someone firmly in the 99.9%.
Okay. Well, hopefully we hear at some point in this episode from the 0.01%, which could be terrifying. But yeah, let's get into it, I guess.
Okay.
As we've established, you have this obsession with near-death experiences and the paranormal. Mm-hmm. So that leads me to my first question, which is, when or how did you first learn about death?
Before we get into this, I just want to say, I am not talking, you know, I want to get into the paranormal firmly in the woo-woo realm of this subject rather than the serious death and dying topic.
Yeah, this is not...
It's not a grief episode.
Yeah, and we're not mocking death. We're not mocking, you know, when people get bereaved. We're not... It's none of that. It really is just about this very strange world that you inhabit.
Yeah, but also there's something about how you encounter the strangeness of that world. If you're privileged enough to encounter it through no one close to you kind of passing away or something, you encounter it in this really childlike way where it's like, there's just this moment where you discover that there is this life and then there's a life beyond it, right? And it's a very confronting thing to come into as a child. And I'm going to be honest, my first encounter with the possibility that there's a realm beyond this one happened in the most kind of chaotic and unfortunate of ways. So it's going to be an interesting one to return to.
So answer the question. How did you first learn about death?
Okay, I first learned about death because one day I came back home from primary school. I don't know what age I was, maybe about 7. And I took one look at my brother whose eyes were bloodshot and red. And he was at home before me when normally we would come home from school together. And I was looking at him and I was like, what is going on? I kept asking him like, Alistair, well, I called him Star for short. Star, what's wrong? What's wrong? And he just was completely shut down and wouldn't engage with me. And the next day, I think the same thing happened. He was back home from school there with his bloodshot eyes. And it suddenly dawned on me, day 2 of seeing my brother like this, that I also hadn't seen our cat, Rosa, who was, Rosa was a mainstay. She had been there from the time I came home from the hospital.
How old was she?
I mean, she was like 20. She was
20?
18 to 20. She was old. She
was geriatric.
She was very, very geriatric, and she was grey already. And she had gradually become a bit of a bag of bones. She'd started to lose weight, and she was getting smaller and smaller. And it suddenly occurred to me that I hadn't seen our cat Rosa. And nobody had mentioned her. Nobody seemed to be looking for her. And so I suddenly went outside and I started calling Rosa, Rosa, hoping she'd come. She didn't come. And then on the 3rd day, again, my brother was home in the afternoon, and I must have been badgering him so much and poking and prodding and annoying him that eventually he got really annoyed with me, and he just turned around to me and he was like, Rosa's dead.
Ooh.
And I was just like, oh. But, the funny thing was, I think that what transpired was that my family hadn't wanted to tell me she had died because they thought I was too young to understand and that I wouldn't cope with it well. But instead, I was affronted that I hadn't been told, and that my brother had been there bloodshot with his eyes and had been obviously so devastated, because he's probably generally a more sensitive person than I am, that he had been sent home from school. And but that was the first time I remember discovering that you go somewhere at some point,
Wow. And how did your parents explain death to you in response to the passing of your cat?
I remember not a lot about it, but I do remember that my dad, when I eventually came home, was very matter of fact about it, that yes, she's dead. And I don't remember there being a huge fuss about it. I remember feeling like he was more surprised that I wasn't devastated and that I was curious about how this was possible.
So you were quite intellectual even then,
I've had this defense as long as I can remember. And I remember also then becoming quite obsessed with death and dying, and being like, talking to my dad at points and being like, when I'm older, will you come to my wedding? Not sure why I said that, because I don't remember ever thinking about getting married, but I remember asking him that question. He turned around not long after that and said, well, if I'm alive. And I remember being like, what? What do you mean if you're alive? And he was like, I'm older than most of your friends' fathers, so there's a good chance that by the time you want to get married, I won't be here. And I was just like, and he just said it in this like totally matter-of-fact way. And I guess, there was no soft, explanation, no, you go here. But that left as a child this really big question then of, well, what happens to us? Which I then filled with, as ever, my mum's magazines, because we lived in a culture which, unlike my dad's matter-of-factness, had endless explanations of what lay beyond, from the Sangomas and witch doctors that were in my mum's magazine, claiming to connect you to your ancestors and heal all manner of everything from erectile dysfunction to a cheating spouse to everything. Other magazines which had like endless stories of reincarnation, little boys who claimed to come back, or to have come from another life and landed in this portal, and very vivid descriptions of concerned mothers writing in that their child was reincarnated and clearly had a previous life. And, it was just it was just odd because in the context I came from, normalization of ancestors, or conversely of very Christian heaven hell discourse was there, whereas to my dad it was just like, that's it, it's over,
It's interesting because thinking back on it now as an adult, would you have preferred the more, I guess, explanatory, maybe gentler discussion about death? Or did that work for you? That sort of, that's it, you die, you're gone. It is what it is. That's death.
God, I mean, I think I would have liked some kind of explanation, but that was very, very typical of how my father responded to a lot of things. For example, even when I would see inequality and I would look at my dad and be like, let's say it was racial inequality or something I couldn't make sense of. And I'd be like, but that's not fair. And my dad would always be like, yeah, but life's not fair.
Yeah, I heard that one a lot.
You got that as well?
Yeah, I heard that a lot, yeah.
And who was it from?
My mum mainly. It was like, for example, if I was bored and I'd say I was bored, she would said, then don't be boring or some stuff.
Oh, yeah. Maybe it was a generational thing.
I think it's a generational thing.
Yeah.
Like, go and do something with your life if you're bored. Don't come here to tell me you're bored.
Yeah,
There's a whole world here.
And it actually, now you're saying that, maybe in hindsight, I did appreciate that because there was a way in which at that age, in a different generation to now, we didn't have endless phones or things to distract us.
Yep.
So whether it was being bored or the concept of the other side or death, you just had to sit with it, and you had to sit with the profound anxiety or unknowing or grey that is just an inevitable part of the human experience.
Yep.
And make peace with it, accept it to some degree, or figure out what your response was going to be.
Yeah.
And actually, now I think about it, I remember the other thing, going back to the story of my cat, was in that space, you're left to make sense yourself and with your peers around you. And I remember going on a play date to a friend's house right after my cat died and ending up telling them that my cat had died. And one of them, who's actually listened to this podcast, his name is Chris, he was like, your cat's died. And I think he just couldn't get over how matter of fact I was, which was probably me mirroring my father. And so as a result, his way of dealing with it was to go into morbid humor. And so on this play date, he made up this whole story about my cat dying and a song. I can still remember the song to this day.
You've got to sing it. You can't bring that to the space and not sing it.
It was bad. I don't know why we chose to do that, but he was like, Pussy Rosa, died on a chair with her legs in the air. And then when
I'm going to send that to Duncan. He's got to compose a little something to go with that.
Duncan has to compose that.
Oh, we'll end the episode.
And the dedication, an honorific to Pussy Rosa.
In loving memory of Pussy Rosa.
Which sounds like a stripper name,
It
like
does.
if ever there was.
Oh my God.
But
and doesn't Rosa mean red?
Yes.
Or rose?
I don't
Is it rose
know.
Or red? Either way, it's giving very vaginal qualities.
It is. And it was very morbid. And I can only think because I remember he quizzed me at length, like, well, how did she die? And I was like, apparently she died in her sleep. Well, how do you know? I think they found it. And he was like, was she just there stiff as a board? And I was like, well, I guess so. And she was like, did she have rigor mortis? Because he was a few years older than me. No. And then this song emerged. And I was like, but actually, if you think about it, I mean, it was quite horrific. It was a bit traumatizing. But also, that's what happens when you leave the space. And this is where things like dark humor come from.
Yep.
Because you're just like, oh, I guess we have to make sense of something we can't know.
Yep.
You better laugh or you're going to cry.
Yeah, absolutely.
Do you know what I mean? And that was the child version of that thing,
Yeah.
So, that was my introduction to the other side as a very real thing, you know?
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Woo. Humor, trauma, and silence.
Exactly. Okay, so that was my introduction to a world beyond this one. What about you? What was yours like?
You already know it's just going to be utterly chaotic and Christian and all the things. But I grew up in the era, we grew up in the era of the Satanic Panic.
Oh, God, yeah. Definitely.
Started in the 80s in America and then quickly swept the world by storm through to the 90s. And for those who don't know, so the Satanic Panic was a period in modern history where we were engulfed by this obsession with and conviction that the elites were involved in satanic ritual abuse and were taking children, doing all sorts of horrible, heinous things to them, from human sacrifice to pornography rings and just like it just took, and it was all under the banner of like worshipping Satan. So,
yeah.
so
oh God, yeah, it was like just Satan worshipping.
Yes.
Everything was 666.
Yes.
And are people really who they say they were? And,
exactly. But the Satanic Panic specifically is linked to a particular psychiatrist, a Canadian psychiatrist, who was called Lawrence Pasda.
Okay.
And he had a patient who actually eventually became his wife called Michelle. And he, I guess, invented this treatment.
So weird. Okay,
where
that she became his wife. Sorry.
I know.
I'm just catching up with you saying that. Sorry.
Listen,
anyway, go on.
listen.
I'm sure that's not
a
very
mess.
legal right now. But anyway, go on.
But he invented this therapy treatment, which involved pulling out repressed memories. Recovering repressed memories, yeah. And in so doing with this Michelle, he pulled out from the deep recesses of her mind satanic ritual abuse.
God.
And he wrote a book about it called Michelle Remembers.
Yeah.
And it just took off like a wildfire through America and subsequently across the globe. And then, of course, that then snowballed. So now other people were like, yes, I've also retrieved repressed memories about ritualistic abuse.
Yeah.
And then there were all sorts of conspiracy theories. Oh, there's the elites and they are in this grove somewhere doing all sorts of human sacrifice and worshipping the devil and all of this sort of thing. So it was a massive thing in that period of time.
Yeah.
By the way, if you can hear rain or some sort of sounds in the background.
Satan's angels.
He doesn't have angels, he has demons.
Oh, demons. It's Satan's demons. I thought he
Tip-tapping.
managed to convert one of the angels, Gabriel?
No.
Did I get that wrong?
I can tell you didn't grow up
go
in a
to
church.
Okay, I thought he managed to lead one of them astray.
No.
Oh, sorry.
The devil was an angel in heaven.
That was
he
right.
Was Lucifer.
That's it.
And he was the fallen angel
everyone.
who became the devil.
Bad theology. I'm sorry.
You need to go to church.
You did not marry your mum after all.
No, I didn't. She would never make such a terrible mistake.
See how liberated you are making your own free choices.
Here I am, just a free moral agent. So that's the era that I came up in. Now, of course, as I've said in many episodes before, I grew up in a fundamentalist Christian community. So, of course, that Satanic Panic combining with the church. It was a field day for us. I was like, yes, Satan is real. He has come here.
That is a heady cocktail of shit.
It really is.
Okay, wait, before we get into that cocktail, I have another thing, because you talking about the Satanic Panic and that particular era, I mean, the psychology side of that stuff veered off in its own directions, including some quite really harmful gaslighty stuff around women remembering experiences of abuse that they had had and then being gaslighted into this, is it real, is it not? And then there was all sorts of weird stuff around things like dissociative identity disorder and split personality being about repressed past lives also ending up in there.
Yeah, but before you go on to that though, of the tens of thousands or whatever, how many thousands of cases that were reported, none of them have been substantiated.
Okay.
So I just want to put that out into the world in terms of the ritualistic abuse by the elites and the cults.
Yeah. That's very important.
Yes, I think that's important to say.
Yeah, just so people know.
And a lot of their claims have been refuted. Like even his therapy has been refuted. It's been debunked. Like just to say,
the fact that he married his patient, I think, in terms of the ethical code of conduct, is absolute madness. So anybody, if you are meeting a therapist who tells you they can reclaim your repressed memories and then wants to marry you, no, you should be ending that therapeutic relationship with immediate alacrity. There we go.
Immediate alacrity. Do not let it continue.
Okay, so there we go. We've got that one. But I want to go back to where I was. There was the mad kind of psychology side of this. But then the side that I really want to know is that era, I feel like it was normal to consult mediums and psychics. Even in the culture, we had things like Mystic Meg.
And horoscopes.
Even on daytime shows like Oprah Winfrey, all of these people, they would bring on psychics. Police actually employed psychics to help them solve crime.
Yes.
And what I want to know is, how did the church deal with the psychics on top of, because the Satan is one thing that fits something. The psychics, it's like another level of something.
Listen, the psychics were the devil's agents on earth.
Oh, really?
Absolutely. You were not supposed to consult with psychics and mediums, because there were even stories in the Bible. So King Saul, who is one of the kings in Israel, he was going through some stuff. He knew that he was going to be deposed from his throne. And he was making all sorts of wrong decisions and choices. And God was like, had it in for him. Like, you're going to be gone. And this king over here, King David, is going to come and take your throne. So he's freaking out. Anyway, he goes and he consults with a witch, which is the one thing you absolutely cannot do.
I'm not supposed to do. Okay.
And he goes and consults with this witch. And she tells him the truth of what's going to happen to him. And the madness in his mind gets to some elevated levels. And essentially, the Bible speaks about that being the defining moment where it was essentially over for him, because it's the one thing you don't do. Because to consult with a psychic or a medium or a witch is to subvert the knowledge and the power of God. You're going to some other source for knowledge. And also, you're digging into things that you have no business knowing. You are in the land of the living. That's all you should be concerned with. You shouldn't be knowing what happens in the land of the dead.
Interesting. This was the same thing done during colonialism, though, wasn't it? So I find that very fascinating. That's another story for another time,
a whole
and another
other
episode.
day. Yes.
Back to what you were saying. So, okay, so psychics out, not
Yes.
at all compatible.
Yeah.
But this satanic panic piece.
Yes.
Go on.
So we had our own superstars.
Okay.
In the world of Christendom.
Okay.
And is it Christendom?
Christendom,
Christendom.
I don't know.
We had our own superstars.
Yeah.
And these were very powerful women.
Yeah.
Who wrote many books about the other side.
Oh, so they were in the 0.01%.
Oh, absolutely.
Okay.
They were firmly in the 0.01%. No, 0.01%. And we had people like Rebecca Brown.
Okay.
So she was, well, it's actually Dr. Rebecca Brown.
Oh, okay.
As in a medical doctor. So she actually was a medical doctor. And she, do you know what? I'm just going to read the first, a little bit of the blurb of her famous book, He Came to Set the Captives Free, because that book was the equivalent of, like Harry Potter. Oh. That's what it was for us in the church.
Okay.
She was a Christian superstar.
Okay, so she was like a popular author of a Christian book that kind of was the backdrop to this era.
Yeah.
Okay.
So on the front cover, you've got someone in a black cloak, like the kind of thing you'd associate with like quite dramatic satanic stuff.
Yeah.
With a hood. And he's kneeling down on a circular that has that star, you know, the Baphomet star. What is it?
Is it the Star of David?
No, it's not the Star of David. It's the other one.
Okay, I don't know.
There's a word for it.
Okay.
But it's a star that's associated with Satanism. And it forms, if you look at it from one angle, it looks like the Baphomet, which is like the head of a goat, essentially.
Oh, I know the one.
You know the one.
I know the symbol, but I don't know what it's called,
Yeah. So this person is kneeling on that. They've got their arms in the air that were once in chains, and there's a holy angelic arm with holding a sword, cutting the chains between them. And underneath this plinth, this star-shaped plinth that they're on, there's some flames and some black, of course, arms coming out of the flames, trying to pull the person back into the flames.
Okay, it's the flames of hell.
It's the flames of hell,
okay,
yes.
Yeah.
And it's called He Came to Set the Captives Free. Anyway, the first line of the blurb says, for 17 years, Elaine, that's Dr. Rebecca Brown's patient, which we then discover many, many years later was actually her flatmate.
Oh, no.
Served her master, Satan, with total commitment. Then she met Dr. Rebecca Brown, who served her master, Jesus Christ. And there's this battle between the dark side and the light side, with Dr. Rebecca Brown being the one to usher Elaine from the dark side of Satanism and witchcraft and psychics and mediums into the marvelous light of Christ. And in it, she talks about the kind of spiritual warfare that she did, the techniques that she had to do, being a prayer warrior, all of this stuff that we took on wholesale. It's like, yes, we too have to be spiritual warriors. We have to bind and cast out demons, and there's all this dark stuff happening, and we are the ones who are standing in the gap for the world against the forces of hell.
Whoa, that is intense.
Really intense.
Okay, wait.
So she was one. Go ahead.
I have so many questions. I want to go back to Dr. Rebecca Brown. When you say she was a medical doctor, was she a psychiatrist, a medical doctor? Like, what business did she have ushering people through spiritual warfare from the dark side to the light?
Let me tell you something. The problem with that period, so we're talking about like the 90s, right? Is that we didn't have the internet like we do now. So she was a medical doctor in Indiana in the USA. My mum is a Nigerian immigrant in Southeast London. She had no way to know that, well, yes, she was Dr. Rebecca Brown, medical doctor, but she'd been struck off.
Oh,
she'd been.
But had she been a general practitioner, or like
she was a medical doctor,
like a psychiatrist?
No, she was a medical doctor.
Okay, and how and when did she get struck off?
Well, she got struck off because she would do all sorts of things. She'd had her license revoked by the state of Indiana for a repeated pattern of misdiagnosing serious illnesses as demonic possession and for inappropriately prescribing large doses of narcotic drugs to her patients, including to Elaine. So Elaine was probably hallucinating the things that she was saying to Doctor in quotes, Rebecca Brown.
Wow. So this is actually an example of extreme spiritual abuse.
Exactly.
And spiritual coercion.
That part.
Wrapped up in medical qualifications and profession.
Exactly.
That's horrendous.
So her whole thing was like doing battle with the dark forces of evil from the other side.
Okay. Before we get into the impact on you as a child, I just want to say...
Can I just say this as well?
Okay.
Amongst her other transgressions was telling patients that she had been chosen by God as the only physician able to diagnose certain ailments and conditions which other physicians could not, and also for falsifying patient charts regarding her patient's condition.
Wow, what a piece of work.
And the medical board that assessed her case, the psychiatrist who was assessing her case said that Rebecca Brown herself suffered from demonic delusions, paranoid schizophrenia, which would explain why, as the document says, she went from a bright, stable medical student to the mess that she eventually became.
Wow.
And we're consuming her books because we don't know this. It's not like the internet where if you get struck off within maybe a week or two or a couple of months, everybody will know.
Yeah.
Because people are doing their investigations.
You don't know. You don't know. We didn't have news cycles like that.
Yeah.
And, just to really date us, if there's any 18 to 25-year-olds and younger listening, those were the days we went to libraries, kids, and we read encyclopedias and we got our information at snail's pace, 10 years behind. So your poor mom would have been listening to this stuff or consuming this stuff. And this is the thing I wanted to say next is I've looked up the book title when you were explaining it. And I am on Amazon where indeed it is obvious that Rebecca Brown was a very popular author because even today, this book that came out in 1992 on paperback has 4.7 stars. Just think about that. 4.7 stars given all you've just told me about her.
Yep.
And a total of 3,500 reviews. Okay, we can't even get 5 reviews on Apple Podcasts.
We're here begging every day, please give us reviews.
Please, like, comment, subscribe. This would be a good time.
Comment, subscribe, leave reviews, share it with your friends or your family who have not been struck off. If
you want a real doctor.
Yes, here we have an actual doctor.
But seriously, subscribe if you want us to beat Rebecca Brown.
Please go and review Rigor and Flow. Wherever you get your podcast, leave a review, leave a comment, like, subscribe, follow, because we have to do better than...
We must do better.
Dr. in quotes, Rebecca Brown. While I was researching this, and again, sorry about the raindrops, there's like a sort of weird...
It's the devils, it's the demons. The demons are jumping on the roof.
They're jumping, but they will never jump on our heads. They will never succeed.
We will cuss them out.
Cuss them out?
Cast them out. I was trying to
it's
say
not like
I
you're
said
gonna cuss them out. Yeah, fucking bloody idiot
I will cuss
demons.
them out. I will cuss them too.
Your mum's a bitch.
Misogynistic demons.
Literally. One of the things I found out whilst researching Rebecca Brown, because obviously I haven't engaged with this since I was really young. Right?
Yeah.
I left all of that stuff far, far behind. So obviously I had
Apparently
to
not based on this podcast.
well, this is
I
it.
know what you mean.
Well, I had to like go and do some research on Rebecca Brown just to remind myself of her work. And then I started to dig into who she was as a person, then discovered all this stuff about her being struck off and her own mental illness and so on and so forth. But I stumbled across her website through which she sold her teaching, sold her courses and sold her books. And there was a paragraph where she's talking about her coming to an understanding of the other realm.
Oh.
And I'm going to read a little bit from it.
Okay.
Because I think you'll like this as
really?
as an ethnographic
Research.
person.
An ethnographer. Blah, that one. All right, tell me what she says.
So I'm just going to read a bit of it. So back in 1979 and 1980, when the Lord first thrust me into heavy spiritual warfare, I was working as a physician, a hard-headed scientist. I'm going to skip ahead. I had been raised to believe that witchcraft was pure fairy tales, stuff from Walt Disney cartoons. I knew the Bible talked about demons, but if they were still here on Earth in this modern scientific and technological age, I assumed they must be in places like Africa.
Oh, no.
And then only in backward areas where modern day science hasn't really made much of an impact.
No!
Ladies and gentlemen, Dr. Rebecca Brown.
Decolonising Dr. Brown. Now on Rig and Flow. Ah, wow.
I knew you'd like that one.
Well, you know, I love when white people tell on themselves and they tell us straight. So, you know what? The funny thing about this is that do you remember just a moment ago before when you were talking about witches and how they have access to this knowledge and this truth that you shouldn't know and you mustn't consult with them? I'm like, that is what happened in colonialism. So of course she thinks Africa is a land of backwardness and lack of progress and probably, deranged spirituality and demonic possession. Of course. I mean, that is the script. What else would we expect?
And that's that.
But seriously, like this woman is like racking up the things, even today, as widely available as this information is about her. She's clearly been quite successful at, well, essentially spreading her own paranoid schizophrenia and her own delusions in the form of books.
Well, this is it. I mean, we did an episode 7 on religion and mental health, right? And I feel like this is the reason why the church needs to be better equipped at spotting these things and dealing with it rather than spiritualizing it. Because actually, if the church had been equipped at that point, she wouldn't have caused the amount of damage that she's done, because her teachings still linger even till today. My mum still has a copy of that book. It's still seen as the guide for spiritual warfare against forces from the other side.
Yeah, and actually I was noticing, looking over your shoulder as you had a page up there, that several Christian ministers have denounced her and were the ones that came out, but it must have taken a heck of a lot of time.
Yeah, absolutely.
For that to be possible. And clearly the damage is already done.
It's already done.
You know.
Because as you saw, thousands of people have a copy of that book and still stand by it.
Yeah. For you as a child, do you remember what age you were when you first encountered Rebecca Brown's books and what you thought or how you felt?
Yeah, I mean, I would have still been in primary school. So I'm talking like between the ages of like 10 to 12-ish, just starting high school. So I'm quite young encountering this. And already you're immersed in a faith that is obsessed with death. Everything about it is about death, whether it's the death of Christ and the crucifixion, whether it is...
and the resurrection, of course, because then there's what goes beyond death, right?
Precisely. Then, of course, there's just our faith in terms of the battle between the Christians and the devils. There's a constant obsession with being saved so that you don't end up in hell. So a constant refrain in my life was just hellfire, hellfire. Hellfire is real. You mustn't go, you mustn't, get caught up in any sins or anything to do with the devil, so you don't end up in his home, which is hell. So you're kind of constantly surrounded by this constant reminder about life beyond the grave. This is only a finite period of time that you are on earth. What you need to be concerned with is what's beyond the grave, because that is forever.
Yeah.
This is for like 80 years, 90, 100 if you're lucky. That is forever and ever and ever and ever and ever and ever. And that's terrifying as a kid.
I was going to say, even as I hear you describe that possibility, I feel petrified.
Yes.
So I can only imagine being a kid, and that is the way you are coming to a sense of life, death.
Exactly.
You know?
Terrifying, horrifying.
Yeah.
You live in a perpetual state of terror that you're going to do something wrong. And at that precise moment, like you're going to get hit by a car or something. And then bam, you've gone to hell forever.
Yeah. It's actually quite sad.
It is sad.
Yeah.
You know?
Because you would want childhood to be a time of being liberated and unburdened by such worries. And for many people it is. But if that's the world you're brought up in, that is obviously not the case.
No, not
because
at all.
the warfare or the fear it's a psychological terror.
Yes.
And a spiritual terror from the jump. Do you know what I mean?
Exactly. One of our other superstars in the world of Christianity was a certain Mary Kay Baxter.
Ooh, Mary Kay. It sounds like Mary J. I'm going down.
No, you can't say it to her.
Oh.
Because
Did she
she
go
actually
down?
went down.
Then I definitely
And not in the
mustn't.
nice way of going down. There's a going down that we like, and there's a going down that we don't like.
Is this okay on this podcast?
I have no idea. I always put explicit on our shows because I'm just convinced that it's going to be explicit.
Okay.
So just come prepared. Don't
prepared for
come here
anything.
if you want cleanly podcasting.
If you want clean takes.
If you want clean taste, that's not here.
No.
Here we get into the
Nitty gritty. We go into it. Okay, so not the good going down. But what do you mean she went down? Was she
So
prosecuted for something?
no.
Oh.
She went to hell.
Oh.
Yes.
What do you mean she went to hell?
She went direct to Satan's lair.
by her
Absolutely.
own testimony.
Absolutely. And she wrote a book about it. In fact, she wrote a whole sequence of books. And one of her classic ones is A Divine Revelation of Hell.
Oh,
and it
no.
was a hit. If it could have been on the Sunday Times bestseller, it would have been there. But I don't think they paid too much attention to us. They didn't put our books in the Sunday Times, which for us was reinforcement that it was real, because it's like, you see,
We have
Satan
been
owns the
forsaken.
Sunday Times. So of course he can't put our books at number one. It was confirmation that we were on the right path.
Oh no! Oh no! Oh no! Can we look up Mary Kay?
Mary
Blige?
Kay.
What's her
Listen,
name?
Mary Kay Baxter.
Baxter. Oh, she's
She-
also a Mary Kay B.
She's a Mary Kay B.
I want to know if she has good stars on Amazon.
Well, you know, it's giving 90s housewife.
she's
But glamorous 90s housewife. I'd say 80s. I'd say 80s
Well, the
housewife.
picture that we can see right now, she looks like she's wearing this. She has that kind of bouffanted,
Yes,
high
big hair.
volume, big hair of that
Blonde
era, doesn't
hair,
she?
yeah, she's
And-
got that pose with the clutching her chin with
Yes.
a big stone for a ring.
Yeah, she looks ready to sit on Dr. Phil's couch or Oprah's couch or
Yeah,
something.
she does. She looks like she
doesn't
could host one of those shows from the sort of 90s.
What did you say her book was called?
A Divine Revelation of Hell.
I want to know
What her reviews are.
Yeah. Oh, it's come up.
Oh, yeah.
It's come up straight away.
Classic. How many reviews? Let's go. Does she beat Dr. Brown?
Hey, these Christian people were really her 2019 edition of this book.
2019, so it's still
That's
going.
recent.
Wow.
A Divine Revelation of Heaven and Hell. She's combined them now.
Oh, she's combined them because there were two books, A Divine Revelation of Heaven and A Divine Revelation of Hell.
And if you want to make money in perpetuity, then just combine them so you can get more royalties.
Exactly.
She's got her eyes on the prize.
So what are
and
her reviews?
She has 4.8 stars
Oh, she beats Rebecca Brown by 0.1.
based on 670 reviews though.
But so Rebecca Brown. But I have a
Still.
feeling if you were to put in just A Divine Revelation of Hell, just the one on its own, I think it would be quite,
Let me check.
yeah, check.
Here we go. A Divine Revelation of Hell,
Mm-hmm.
still available in a Kindle edition for quite some price, £11.39. So it's not a budget book. First released in the 80s, and it has 4.8 stars based on almost 3,000 reviews.
Wow. These books were really, really important books for us because in that book, in both books, A Divine Revelation of Hell and A Divine Revelation of Heaven, she talks about being taken to the other side by Jesus himself.
Oh.
Hand in hand.
She was
they went
well
there.
acquainted.
Absolutely. And they went through hell, and in hell, that's where she saw all the famous people who've done bad things.
This is starting to sound like Tyler Henry.
Literally. She was our very own Tyler Henry.
She was the
in
Christian
book form.
Tyler Henry. Less woo-woo and more hellfire.
Oh, man. And yeah, she saw all of the bad humans like Hitler were in hell.
Oh, she saw Hitler.
Oh, they're all there burning.
Anyone else?
She describes like intense scenes of torture. So it's kind of like torture porn in a way, which is horrific. I know it's disgusting, but that was a big part of it. And then, of course, it was a warning to Christians on earth to, of course, make sure they stay on the straight and narrow so they don't end up in hell, and to spread the message of hell.
Oh, yes. And keep people petrified.
Keep people petrified.
So that they may
of,
choose, what you want them to choose, really.
Exactly.
Wow. So what happened? What divine revelations did she arrive at there, and how did they differ from what she arrived at in heaven?
Well, I don't know if I read her heaven book. I think by that point in my life, I'd just had enough. It was too much, you know, because between that and the Christian Nollywood films, it was just so terrifying. And there was also a series called Left Behind, where Christians get taken in the rapture and those who'd sinned got left behind, and then they're tortured by the Antichrist. It's just horrible. Like that was the soup in which I was raised.
Yeah.
It was just terror, constant terror and fear and shame and guilt.
Yeah.
That was it. So by the time I got to Divine Revelation of Heaven, I was done. I was like, I'm not reading that. Even though it's probably the nice one to read because she's going to heaven.
Yeah.
But even then, it's still like dangling a carrot in front of your face and saying, if you sin, you're not coming here, are you?
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. And you're only going there out of fear. It's not as if
Precisely.
you're going out of born of the best bits of yourself or something, you know, a way of thinking that's nourishing or abundant in any way.
That part.
Yeah.
So, so her book, I mean, Divine Revelation of Hell. Yeah, it's really terrifying. A lot of Christians have come out to speak out against it. But what it did do was it birthed a whole generation of African, I can only speak specifically about Nigeria, Christians who then had their own revelations of hell. And then there's this whole, like, you just have to type into YouTube, I don't know, Nigerian pastor goes to hell or whatever. And there's so many people who've gone to hell and they build their own picture of what hell is and who's there and what the message is from Christ to Christians about hell and the realities of hell. So it spawned a whole host of people going there.
And is there any consistency to the like accounts of hell that these people provide? Like, do they all try and one up each other? Do they give pretty consistent, you know?
They one up each other. A lot of it is, how would I put it? I would say that a lot of their depictions of hell are very theatrical.
Yeah. Flamboyant.
So flamboyant. It's like you could imagine the musical of their depictions of hell.
The musical.
Maybe that's what I should write, is the musical hell. Yeah. So that's what I got raised in. And all of that to say that my life was immersed in death.
Okay.
We were constantly conscious of the other side.
Yeah. So in fact, we had these very, very different experiences of the other side and very different claims made about the people who said they knew firsthand what it was, you know. I would say mine were both a mixture of like indigenous, some Christian, a lot of woo-woo, and then some matter-of-fact scientific, you just die, like a whole load of things, and reincarnation and all these other things happen. Yeah. Whereas yours seemed like so stark and so, in a way, so full of fear, where mine were so full of wonder or confusion.
Exactly. And then you imagine what I was raised in, combined with the satanic panic of the time, and it's just poof.
Yeah. Wow.
Because now it's confirmation for Christians. Like, I told you.
Yeah.
I told you that the devil is real and he is rampaging up and down.
He's ready for you.
He's ready. He's just going up and down with his demons, his legions of demons. They are just causing chaos everywhere. That is why you have to do good prayer warfare. It's just chaos.
I actually can't.
Sometimes I think about my life, I'm just like, wow.
I just can't believe you ended up here.
I can't believe it. A total heathen.
I understand a bit about the backdrop to your understanding of the other side. How do you relate to it as an adult today?
You know what? It's a bit like the sexuality thing. You're trying to reconcile two things that seem almost opposed, in the sense that I don't want to live a life of fear and terror and shame and guilt. Do you know what I mean? It's not the kind of life that I want to live. And so I'm constantly trying to find ways to not live that kind of life. Does that make sense?
Yes, to have an understanding of what lies beyond here that isn't grounded in fear or punishment, or
Yes.
Is that what you mean?
Yeah, I think that. And also, maybe I don't need to know. Like maybe the story of King Saul and what the Old Testament was saying is that you have no business knowing. And maybe there's a wisdom to that, which is you're just going to terrify yourself. Like just don't concern yourself with that. Just leave it. And just get on with the business of living the life that you've been given for the allotted time that you've been given. That's all you need to worry about. And then you're more present. Because I think the problem with the way I was raised is that none of us was present. We were so focused on not ending up in that horrific hell beyond the grave that we weren't focused on the here and now. The love that we shared, the communities that we were a part of, the planet that we were here to take care of, because it was always like, this is just for now. This is a short span of time. That is forever. So our focus has to be on that, because if we don't get it right, that's a forever amount of torture. And I don't want to live that life. I want to live a life where I'm present. I want to enjoy the life I've been given, because this is all I know. I actually don't know what's beyond the grave. People can say what the Mystic Meg, Tyler Henry, Mary Kay Baxter, Rebecca Brown, anybody can say what they say about the beyond. But actually, all I do know is what's here right in front of me right now.
Yeah.
And so that's what I want to be present for and focus on. And then whatever happens beyond happens. I actually have no control over that.
Yeah.
And I think some Christians think that by doing their rituals and giving their life to Christ and all that, I'm not saying that you shouldn't do that. If that's what you need to do, that's what you need to do. But there's still no guarantee that that is actually the right way, because so many people and so many religions have a set of understandings of the right way to do a certain number of things to avoid a hell or to get to a heaven. So who knows? What I do know is that right now, this is real and this is what I'm going to live.
It's so interesting listening to you say that, because I heard something that I don't know I've picked up on before, which is that if this life is the small thing that doesn't matter, and the afterlife is the thing that where you're going to spend all of eternity, you almost don't have to really be that responsible for the planet or for all of those things that you described in the here and now, because
or even other people.
Despite a narrative of being a good person, it's only to the extent that it's an avoidance for you, maybe for some people. I don't want to generalize and say that's how everybody reads that, but I find that so interesting, because when I am drawn to the theologies or worldviews of people I know of faith that are really strong, what's common to them is this sense of abundance and this sense of that here and now is worthy of protection, is sacred. It's nothing to do with what lies beyond. That way of thinking pervades the now. It's not about fear. It's not about all of those things, right?
Yeah.
And it strikes me that you had a theology that was, it could have been a different Christian theology that you had, right?
It could have been, yeah. But it also, it's so interesting that, because I'm just now thinking this, you know, when I think about my family not coming to our wedding last year, for them to go against their beliefs in this finite life that lasts for maybe 80, 100 years, for them to go against their belief for that and then end up in hell forever for that same decision.
Yeah.
That's terrifying and horrifying.
Yeah.
And so it's better to sacrifice your relationship
With your child
now,
Yeah.
your sibling now, than face a lifetime in hell being punished by the devil. And for me, when I think about that, I find that so sad.
100.
So sad.
Yeah, and that is basically what was said to us. That's not a reading of the thing. That was what was said. And it is, I find the idea of a God...
Who is love, by the way.
Exactly. I find the idea of a God that is punishing, that is intent on penitence and vengeance. I find that I've never had any draw to that ever. Yeah. Partly because I've been privileged enough not to have to, but it's extremely sad to me as well.
It is. And to undo those years of terror and trauma and fear, it takes a lot of work. And I've been doing that work consistently for a very, very long time.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, I know.
But, you know, it is what it is. But I guess I want to ask you now as an adult, well, I have some idea of your thoughts, but tell me how you relate to the mysteries of life and death.
Well, it's weird actually, because what I didn't expect in your response was so much sameness. And when you started, you said something about being present and accepting what we don't know. And I guess that's kind of how I feel about these things. I've come to an acceptance of not knowing. I think that not knowing and holding some sense of wonder and awe about the world and a life that we cannot possibly know or understand is also a really lovely and important sweet spot that sometimes by just not engaging with the thing, I would miss out on. And, you know, I really like that sometimes religion gives you a framework for constantly coming back to this question in a quite systematic way when it's healthy, you know. I feel like the not knowing and the acceptance of the not knowing is quite a beautiful thing. And at the end of season 1, we actually had a feed warmer with Selena Stone, right?
Sunday School for Misfits, her podcast.
And she talked about something like Welcome to the Grey and the space of doubt. And I love that. And I think it's the reason I continue to love engaging with Tyler, because I don't go to church. I don't go to a mosque. I don't go to a synagogue. I don't go to a gurdwara. I don't do any of those rituals that might make me possibly reflect on those things more. So TV and entertainment sometimes ground me into this question of, well, what is this space? As does anything related to the mysteries of the world. A recent example of that was someone we know had gone through a bit of an illness, and their brain function had changed as a result of it because they had a bleed on the brain. And after they went through it, they had all sorts of changes to their senses and perceptions and so on and so forth. And it reminded me of a book that my father had bought me and sent me by Oliver Sacks, a neuroscientist, many, many years back. And it was a very classic book for my dad as a secular, quite scientific guy to have sent me, because it was the story of a neuroscientist who starts to explore the question of God through what he sees talking to patients and other doctors. And the book, Musicophilia, starts with the story of one of his peers, a brain surgeon, being on the phone one day during a lightning storm and getting struck by lightning. And he suffered a cardiac arrest as a result of being struck by lightning, wasn't in a good shape, but eventually made a full recovery and was completely fine. But some short period after this lightning strike incident, he started to have what he described as religious-like experiences of hearing music and whole pieces in his head, and he had never been musical at all. And had dreams of playing Carnegie Hall and writing, like playing his own original pieces. And basically something about the lightning strike changed the electromagnetic the brainwaves essentially. And he developed this insatiable, what he called religious obsession with music. And he felt his life had been spared just so that he could bring music to the world. And having never studied piano, ended up learning and doing and performing, I believe, at Carnegie Hall, his own pieces and a Chopin piece, which he had become obsessed with. And for me, even as an adult, I absolutely adore stories like that. And especially when it's like scientific people who've had no interest in religion now suddenly trying to look for explanations of things. Because I'm just like, yeah, I just love that there are things we can say as human beings we don't know, because we often exist in this space of total certainty. You know?
Which is also not helpful.
Yeah.
So kind of like the Christian obsession with living in the next phase of life rather than focusing on the one that you've actually been given. It's also not healthy or helpful to be in a state, which is quite a rigid state of, I know this thing and that's it. And that's the only way.
Well, that's
being open, I think, is really important. Being open and present, I think, is important.
Precisely. And I think there is a deep irony to the point you just made, which is that so often it's rigidly fundamentalist religious people who have a deep certainty about hell and damnation. And on the flip side, almost rigidly scientific, secular, and often quite atheistic people who probably have much more in common than they do different.
Yes.
You know, and that's often said in religious studies, that sometimes you can have like fundamentalist, non-religious and secular and atheistic views, you know, Dawkins and co, right? So yeah, for me, I like the space between whatever worldview you subscribe to.
Yeah, I love that. Yeah. And I think as I reconcile my Christian upbringing, as I start to reconcile all the different bits that need to be sorted through, I really want to come to that place of being open and present, like fully present and open in the right ways.
Yeah, ditto. I feel like I could do with some more, I suppose, some kind of ritual or sense of grounded worldview that allows me to constantly come back to that, the questions of life.
Yeah, I agree. So where are we at with Tyler Henry?
I'm still going to watch Tyler. I like it. I will do it on my own when there's no one there to spoil it. But I'm going to watch Tyler. Apart from anything, he's queer, and I love that. He's like a little gay blonde fairy.
He's like a twink.
That connects to the other side.
Yeah.
I love it. And sweats profusely in the process.
Oh, God. Well, I think that's probably a good place to end.
It sure is. If you've joined us today, thank you so much for being with us. You can like, comment, subscribe, follow, leave a review. And of course, if you want to be in touch, please do reach out to us by email. We're on rigorandflow@gmail.com, and rigor is spelled RIGOUR because we're in UK.
Nice.